Welcome back to Advocacy Alchemy with Professor Ross. Today we got a good one, guys. We're talking about speed, not just, oops, I was doing 75 in the 65. Not that kind of speed. We're talking about 155 miles per hour, blazing fast. That's what Florida Highway Patrol clocked a 20-year-old doing on I-4 in a Dodge Challenger. There was also 3 passengers in the car. The driver said he thought he was doing 80. The radar said otherwise. Under Florida's new super speeder law, the consequences are no longer justified. Let's jump into the footage, the facts, and the legal firepower behind this brand new July 2025 crackdown. With that, let's jump in.
You may want to keep a closer eye on your speedometer because starting on July 1st, a speeding ticket could mean jail time. I'm Fox 4 community correspondent Eric Lovelace, and Governor Ron DeSantis signed the dangerous excessive speeding bill into law. But what is dangerous and excessive? Well, that depends on who you ask. Florida is cracking down on super speeding. You've seen the drivers speeding down the highway and the drag racers, but now it could land you in jail. Kenneth Dean lives in Marco Island, and I asked him about his thoughts on the bill, and he says it's a good thing.
It's just with the traffic and people, losing their lives. We need it.
The dangerous excessive speeding law gets you prison time if you go over the speed limit by 50 miles an hour, or if you go over 100 miles per hour in a threatening manner, which House members opposing the bill say is too broad.
But not all speeding poses the same risk. And a one-size-fits-all punishment is both unjust and inefficient.
And other bill opponents say this will swamp local courts.
In county criminal court, our court system is not equipped to now deal with speeders who are looking at jail time.
Up to 3 months, to be exact, for the first conviction.
Details into the arrest of an alleged super speeder. Troopers clocked a 20-year-old going 155 miles an hour. When they pulled him over, they say he thought he was going about 80 down I-4 in Seminole County. Fox 35's Stephanie Buff-Monty found out how police were able to catch him.
95 over the posted speed limit, that is a missile going down the interstate system, and it can kill someone.
Lieutenant Tara Crescenzi says a Florida Highway Patrol trooper doing radar enforcement clocked Octavius Hunt doing 155 miles per hour in a 60 mile per hour zone. It happened around 1 a.m. Sunday on I-4 in this Dodge Challenger. That's when the trooper called in for help.
We had a trooper up ahead that was able to identify that vehicle, and then them two together, they were able to put a vehicle in front and a vehicle behind and get them over on the shoulder.
The 20-year-old told troopers he was only going 80 miles per hour as he headed to a friend's house with 3 others in his car, but the trooper didn't buy it.
It is so dangerous to be driving that fast, not only because of the new law change and potentially facing jail time, but also the consequences of if you were involved in a crash. If you crash into somebody else or you lost control and you crash into a concrete wall barrier, you're not only going to kill yourself, but you could potentially kill your 3 passengers.
Hunt was arrested under Florida's new super speeder law, which heightens penalties for anyone going over 100 miles per hour or anyone driving 50 miles an hour above the posted speed limit. He also faces an expedition of speed charge.
To be traveling 155 miles per hour, you were obviously trying to show your passengers what that vehicle could do, and luckily we were able to stop you before it became a tragedy.
And tonight, FHP has a message.
So if you are a parent, be a good role model, explain the consequences, that it could destroy your life over a stupid mistake.
Reporting in Altamont Springs, Stephanie Buff-Monty, Fox 35 News.
Okay, let's break down the Florida super speeder law. All right, it was originally passed as HB 351. It came into effect just at the beginning of this month, July 1st. A little background, I was up working and I saw some news reports coming out early that morning. So July 1st, early that morning, I was on the internet working and, they have a new law that came into effect and they already got people speeding. Anyways, this law is about putting the brakes on extreme speeding and reckless racing on the Florida highways. Now, as you have seen before, probably many times, is you see out in Florida, they have people with really nice, expensive, fast cars. Well, they're going to put a stop to all the speeding. Here's what triggers it. 1, if you're driving 50 miles or more over the posted speed limit. 2, driving over 100 miles per hour. All right, it doesn't matter what the speed limit is. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you're going to get hit with this new law. All right, so either one of those two conditions will get you arrested. All right, there's no tickets involved here. You're getting put in cuffs in the back of the car. Your car is going to get impounded, the whole 9 yards. Let's look at the penalties. All right, the first offense is a first-degree misdemeanor. It carries up to 1 year in jail, maybe 1 year probation, a fine of up to $1,000. The second offense, all right, it's still a misdemeanor, but now it's $2,500 and a 2-year license suspension. All right. Oh, I forgot to say, the first offense, it also carries a 1-year license suspension. Third offense, it's a third-degree felony, 5 years in prison, $5,000. And you could lose your license for up to 4 years. All right, big reasons behind this. In a 10-year period, from 2013 to 2023, there was a rise in traffic deaths in Florida. They said it was around 43%. And out of that 43%, 84% were speed-related deaths. And the demographic, males 16 to 25 years old. And people wonder why, if you have a son, your insurance is high all the way until they're about 26 years old. All right, that's the data. You all see it. All right, there's some other laws going to pop up here that you can see that are also related to speed. Anytime you're hit with this super speed law, you can be hit with these others, okay? All right, next, let's move into the evidentiary standards, because they apply even on a traffic stop or otherwise. Let's walk through the 6 levels of evidence that apply in this case. First, you have mere suspicion. Now, this is the lowest. It's a gut feeling. It's not enough for the government or the police to act. A good example is if a state trooper hears a roar down the highway, but haven't seen the car just yet. Now, it's a mere suspicion that somebody's speeding somewhere, but he hasn't seen it. He hasn't clocked anybody yet, but he's on alert. He's waiting for it. He knows it's going to come, maybe, unless someone turns off the highway. Moving up one more level, we have reasonable suspicion. Now, this is when the police or the government have specific facts that suggest something illegal is happening. Another example, if a state trooper sees the Challenger flying past traffic, at that point, he prepares to engage and can go and stop the vehicle because of the traffic violation. All right, the stop will be just a detention to investigate to see if there was an actual violation. Moving up one more level, we have probable cause. Now, this is when the police or the government have enough evidence to justify an arrest. At this level, there's enough evidence and circumstances to believe that there has been a crime, there will be a crime, and the suspect is involved. At this level, the police can arrest someone, or they can go and get a search warrant, or sometimes they can search without even having a warrant. That's what happens when people have the K9 dogs and things like that. Here, the radar confirms 155 miles per hour. All right, super speed law is in effect. Everything's in order to make a stop and an arrest. Moving up one more level, we have preponderance of the evidence. This level means more likely than not. All right, at this level, this is where people are going to court civilly and suing one another. If there was some civil hearing for the suspension of the man's license, the state only has to prove it's probably true that he was speeding. 51% of the evidence. That's all they have to have. Moving up one more level, we have clear and convincing evidence. This level means it's substantially more likely to be true than not. Now, this level's in between the civil standard and the criminal standard. It's used when you have cases that require more evidence. It takes about 75% of the evidence to win this type of case. You might see it if a person's professional license is on the line, or when you're dealing with maybe a permanent driving license revocation, meaning that a person will not be able to drive ever again. All right, a good example is here that we use dash cam footage, radar logs, eyewitnesses from the officer reports, or anybody who was hit or had to pull over on the highway due to the speed. All that can move toward clear and convincing evidence. Finally, you have beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, this is the highest standard. This means that there is no other reasonable conclusion besides the defendant being guilty of the crime that they're charged with. A good example is if this went to trial, they'd use the video, the radar, the police officer's statements, and using all those pieces of evidence, they likely meet the standard in front of a jury. Okay, next we'll move into the jury perspective. Now let's bring you into the picture. Imagine yourself on the jury. You hear the young man say, "Oh, I thought I was going 80." But he was clocked at 155 miles per hour. You know the law, you see the radar, you know the car, a Dodge Challenger. 3 other people are also in the car. It's the middle of the night, one wrong move, and it could have been a 4-body crash. Now ask yourself, would you believe he didn't know how fast he was going? Did you think this was a joyride, or was it something closer to just reckless disregard for everyone out there? Now here's where your intuition comes in on this one. You felt this before. It's that rush of fear when a car blows by at 100 miles per hour. Your stomach tightens, you tense up. That's your intuition screaming, something's wrong. Law enforcement has the same internal warning system. So do prosecutors, the judge, and you as jury members. The question, does your gut tell you this was a mistake or a menace? Comment below. Guilty or not guilty? Would you convict or would you give this 20-year-old a break? What do you think about the law also? Tell me in the comments below. Here's our final word. Speed doesn't just kill, it convicts now. This super speed law isn't about punishing everybody. It's aimed at a small, deadly subsect of drivers who are turning highways into drag strips. Octavius Hunt, he might be the first to face consequences, but trust me, he won't be the last. So if you're driving a car and, it's pretty fast, it can go 150. Remember this, just because it can, it doesn't mean you should. That kind of speed, it might feel like freedom when you're young until it costs you your future. Remember, this is Advocacy Alchemy. I am Professor Ross. I'll see you tomorrow. Be safe out there. Have a great day.
Yes. Make sure you subscribe to Advocacy Alchemy and come back tomorrow at 8:45.